Hey there, it's Sharon Lipinski, the Habit Superhero, and welcome to the Habit Huddle, where I share a quick tip, an insight, or a strategy that you can use to master your habits. Because the only thing that is standing between you and the life you want are the good habits you wish you had and the bad habits you wish you didn't. This week, we're talking about how habits are formed. In an experiment, researchers recorded thousands of neurons in rats' brains as they navigated a maze to find a food reward. And during this process, at a specific T-junction, the rats would receive a signal that let them know which direction to turn in order to get their reward. So they repeated this over and over and over again, and eventually the rats learned that this signal meant turn this direction. Once they learned that, they still kept doing this experiment over and over and over. So as the rats were creating this habit of turning in a specific direction according to a specific signal in order to get a food reward, the researchers were watching what was happening in their brain. And they discovered that there were two types of circuits involved in habitual learning. There's cognitive circuits and there's movement circuits. So the cognitive circuits were very active just as the rats were learning this maze and what was going to happen and what all this information meant. But as time wore on, as it got more predictable and they got more confident, the cognitive circuit use decreased and the movement circuit increased. And essentially what was happening is the rats no longer had to think about what to do in order to get their reward. Now the cognitive circuits were still active at the beginning of the maze and at the end of the maze, but in the meantime, while they were running that maze, they were running on muscle memory. And you've experienced this process in your life. Think back to learning how to drive. I learned how to drive on a stick shift, and honestly, as if driving wasn't hard enough, I was learning how to pay attention to the other cars and the lights and the pedestrians, and did I put my turn signal on? I was also learning that complicated maneuver where you press in on the clutch, you put the car in gear, and then with the right pressure, you press in on the gas and you lift up on the clutch. And in the beginning, this was very difficult for me. I sat through more than one green light because I could just not figure this out. In the beginning, driving was overwhelming. It was all I could do just to focus on driving. But now, driving is easy. In fact, it's too easy. I don't know, have you ever been in the position where you got in your car in your driveway and you arrived at your destination and thought, oh my God, how did I get here? I hope I stopped at every stoplight because I don't even remember driving. That is the habit creation process. Through repetition, driving becomes easy. And then the neurons in your driveway, the cognitive neurons in your driveway fire, and the cognitive neurons at your destination fire. And in the meantime, you can drive off of muscle memory. And you can think about what phone calls I need to make when I get to the office, what errands I need to run on my way home. So here's the takeaway. Repetition is the mother of habit. There is no way around it. You create the neural pathway through consistent action. It's not intensity, it's not duration. It is a simple act of repetition that carves that neural pathway deeper and deeper into your brain. So if you want to create a habit, you want to keep repeating it until it's something that you don't have to think about. Thanks for joining me for the Habit Huddle. If you enjoyed this episode, click the thumbs up sign. And if you want more bite-sized tips and strategies on creating habits, click subscribe. Leave me questions and comments below. I'd love to answer those in a future episode.